Hello, folks, and welcome to the June edition of the Flatcar Office Hours. In the office hours, we discuss news and happenings in and around Flatcar, and maintainers have an open ear for users and contributors. Flatcar is a CNCF project, and as such, we adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct, which means please be nice to each other. And if you find yourself being talked over, or if there's someone just doesn't stop talking and you want to say something, please use the raise your hand feature, and we'll make sure that you're being heard. I'm going to share the agenda in a second. Before we do that, we have an introduction round usually, and the way that works is I randomly pick the first person to say hi. Please be brief, 1 or 2 sentences, and then that person picks the next person, and so on. Sion, why don't you get started?
Hello, I'm Sion. I have been working with Flatcar for this is 6th year. So 6 years primarily looking into package updates and releases and working on new features and stuff as they come along. These days, I'm just looking into the kernel 6.18, also breaking around the NVIDIA changes. Yeah, that's from me. I'll pass on the mic to Logan.
Hello, I'm Logan. I've started joining office hours regularly. My company uses Flatcar, and I also use it for some of my like home lab related things. So I'm enjoying it really well. Chewy?
Yep, Chewy here. Also James. I'm in Edinburgh in Scotland, Flatcar maintainer, and I work at Microsoft. Over to Mathieu.
Hello, I'm Mathieu, working in the Flatcar team, currently doing some infrastructure work and provide Flatcar support for new cloud providers. What about you, Christian?
My name's Christian, and I work at Lambda, so we kind of do AI stuff. We've started to use Flatcar around 6 months back, and we're slowly rolling it out to the platform. So we've enjoyed the experience a lot. I'm glad that this one won out of all the ones we were trying. So probably expect to see more of us. Oh, I hit the wrong. How about Filio?
Is that me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Thilo. My office life is more in a management direction. I take care of some Microsofties that contribute to Flatcar, but I sometimes get my hands dirty in Flatcar as well, and I really enjoy it. And yeah, that's basically me. Daniel.
Oh, I'm also Flatcar maintainer from Microsoft. I've been working on secure boot and CSX and signing, stuff like that. Yeah, over to Navaneeth. You're the last one, or Adrian? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. So I work as a DevOps engineer, and this is my first time here, and excited to present about the Oracle Cloud support today. Yeah, that's it.
Adrian, you wanna go?
Hello, Adrian here. I'm a Flatcar maintainer. I work for cloud-based solutions. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Nice. Thanks, everybody. I just shared you again agenda really briefly before giving the mic over to Navaneeth for the OCI stuff, which is amazing, by the way. Support for new platforms, always amazing. Okay. Just need to find the right window. Here we go. So we already went through the welcome. Thanks for saying hi, everyone. Navaneeth is gonna introduce the coming OCI support for Flatcar. We have a call out for a few folks who massively improved our documentation. I'm not really sure we can cover the CNCF work for graduation because both maintainers who drive that for different reasons were not able to make the meeting today. After that, we have open mic time, and then we have release planning for the last time because it's gonna move in its own meeting. Okay, without further ado, giving the mic to Navaneeth for OCI support.
Just give me 5 minutes. The Terraform script is running.
All right. I'll give you your 5 minutes, and I'll just quickly go through the documentation changes. So documentation has always been an area of improvement for the project, and we always welcome documentation patches, large and small. Some folks from the CNCF actually sat down and massively restructured and improved our documentation, and here's what's coming. So that's the PR, and it's pretty sizable if you look what changed. And just briefly show you the, oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry, briefly show you the preview. So if you know the docs section of the Flatcar is the major thing that changed. So that Flatcar docs you find here. And so this is the old format with the structure that you may or may not be familiar with. And so the new one is making the start very easy for you. It has getting started, and then it leads you step by step from smaller deployments to larger deployments and the issues that arise with larger deployments. It has its own section on managing updates and the update manager, and it has a separate section for all of the developer-focused documentation. That said, it's not perfect. So most of the items you'll find are filled in, but some of the areas are also almost empty and have room for improvements. I failed to find one. That's the demo effect. But this is a living documentation. This looks like it could take an overview. So this is a living documentation, and having the new structure will make it a lot easier for folks to just add their improvements. And we are so happy for this work to happen. Since we're talking about, Matthew.
Yeah, I didn't check yet the pull request, but did they just move the section, or they rewrite as well the documentation inside the sections?
It's both. It's a little bit of both. We actually have kind of a large proposal document that discusses all of the changes in detail. Let me just check something real quick. But I mean, the problem of the old website is largely that existing documentation was present somewhere but hard to find. And so this, I just checked if that document is private or public. It's actually public, so you can look at it. And so this is basically taking most of these and then reordering, but it also has parts that are added or rewritten.
Okay.
That said, it is far from complete. I failed to find an example, but when I did a detailed review of the PR, I found sections that were more or less placeholders, but basically that offers a chance for people to jump in and help improving the docs. And since we're talking about documentation, there are minor documentation updates and changes happening as well. We have the search refactoring that has been pending for some time that Cyan worked on. We just tested it with the large PR, the large change, and the large change still works. So it looks like we're going to merge the search refactoring early. And then for all of the code snippets, we have a copy button feature that was also contributed. Cyan.
The copy button feature is also there in mine, different way to include it, but I mean, it's there like CSS integrated and everything, but since Yusuf had done a PR as well, I just thought I'll block myself and I'll ingest his changes and then apply mine on top of it. Like, so I'm just waiting on his. So yeah.
That sounds healthy. That's a good idea. Thanks for honoring this work from the other PR. That means a lot. All right. Nevertheless, how's Terraform doing?
Yep, it's done. I can share my screen.
1 second. I think I need to unshare. I'm not sure. There you go.
Yeah, so the Terraform script just finished running, and you can see the host name is properly it's getting it properly from Oracle, and the SSH key also support is working. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you, Matthew, for helping me with all this.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for all your contribution. And I think that was the shortest demo we ever had in the office hours. But yeah, maybe to elaborate a bit on what you've done. Basically, Flatcar has a support on many cloud providers, and Oracle Cloud support was missing one. But all the heavy lifting was already done on the Ignition and Afterburn side. So Oracle Cloud support was already integrated to Ignition and Afterburn. So the only stuff we needed to do on the Flatcar side was to provide official images, to be able to import the images on Oracle and then run the instance like you've done with Terraform here. So every native functionalities from Flatcar are working on Oracle, which means you can use Ignition in the user data, and you can use SSH key injection like Navanit shown. So yeah, we have documentation in progress, and we might have automated test suites in the next weeks, because thanks to CNCF, we have an Oracle Cloud account. So yeah, we expect official supports in the next weeks, but right now it will be just in alpha, and you can try it, use it, and give any feedbacks you have on this feature. Yes, Logan?
I might have imagined this, but I think someone said that Oracle Cloud has AMD GPUs for.
Yeah, this is something I checked. So I was at KubeCon a few months ago, and I discussed with AMD folks and Oracle folks, and yeah, it seems they should have AMD GPU supports in soon. I don't know yet when, but yeah, it would be super interesting because we will be able to finally implement GPU testing in the test suite of Flatcar. So yeah, this is something I'm really looking forward. But yeah, right now I didn't see the GPU instances. It's only NVIDIA. So maybe we can bring back NVIDIA test support as well using Oracle cloud providers. So yeah, many stuff to do. But thanks, Navanit, for doing the foundation of this work.
Amazing, great stuff, folks. All right, yeah, I'm gonna skip the CNCF graduation work. There's a lot going on, and there would be a lot to report about, but both Lexi and Jan sadly couldn't make it, and I think either one thought the other one would be doing this overview. So I'm gonna move it to the dev sync, but we have great conversations with folks, and they're really helping us along, just they did for the incubation process, and we feel really well embedded. Okay, the next is open mic time. If you have a topic to chat, if you have questions to ask, just shoot.
Me again. So I did finally got my own build of AMD GPU running with the dev KFD exposed. And so I submitted a PR, and I think I need to provide more information. Adrian, I believe you commented on that, and so I did that real quick before the meeting started. So hopefully that's sufficient information. If not, I'm happy to add more. I did a LS PCI to try to give the specific chipset that was running. It is old, and it's an integrated chipset, but it is still supported by, it's like an iGPU, so it's one of the little like NUC boxes. And so it's still technically kind of under the wire getting in there for AMD GPU support. That being said, Rockham, the AMD's, I guess, kind of CUDA competitor in a way, is they don't really support iGPUs. Oh, no.
Oh dear.
I think we
Can I see everyone?
cannot hear you.
We lost like
oh, no.
we lost like the last 30 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah, I noticed everyone froze, and I was like, "That's not okay. Something is wrong." Yeah, so I have a little NUC box that has the AMD and iGPU in there. So I can see ROCm information, so like ROCm info passes. So like I know that it's at least finding GPU and running things. I would caution, and I tried to, I guess depending on which version of the kernel you look at, some of the options that we had to enable were considered experimental. And so I mean, I leave it to everybody to try to figure out if that's something we want in here or not. So, because there's PCI options, there's DMA buff options, et cetera, et cetera. So, but it's at least working. And then I sadly could not use my application because of the poor ROCm support, but that's more on me than it is on them. So, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was that if there's any other information, then you can let me know.
I think we'd be okay to enable those if people don't want to use them, then don't use them.
Well, it's not. You mean the options?
Yeah, the experimental stuff. Yeah.
Well, so I guess I was under the impression it would be like a all or nothing kind of deal.
I'm maybe lacking some context.
Look, I mean, because if it's a kernel option and
Yeah.
you build the kernel, like there's no going back to it after you're running it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if it's kernel drivers or features that other people wouldn't otherwise use, then I don't think that's a problem.
But it is. I mean, it is also the KFD is exposed on pretty much every other major distro too. So it can't be that bad. But all right, that's me. Thanks.
This is good
Yeah, I took a look at your PR and also took a look at the changes and everything it's expected. Are you using somehow FreeGate with this and it works?
As I said, the Frigate ROCm container does not run because my GPU is too old and or too small.
Okay.
However, the video decoding, so VAAPI and or FFmpeg acceleration does work. So, but that's on like the video half of the driver. So that part's really nice. But I can't run the little mini models like YOLO, or I guess I'm running the MobileNet via OpenVINO right now. So it's all CPU inference. But yeah, so far so good. In America, you can point a camera outside. I've heard recently that you can't do that in Germany and other places, that they don't let you film the public. I wish for that as I drive past multiple thousands of security cameras every day. But that's besides the point. That's not now. We can talk about that later.
Matthew, you have your hand up.
I have a question for Christian. So you said that you work in the AI field and using Flatcar. So do you use Flatcar to run AI workloads with GPU or stuff like that, or is just another stuff?
Not yet. We're considering it right now. So this is the software platform that kind of orchestrates all of the GPUs and things like that. So it's tangential to that. So there is, we're directly connecting to the GPUs from Flatcar nodes and things like that. But we're running like InfiniBand kind of like UFM servers on Flatcar, and all that seems to work perfectly. And we're considering kind of like maybe unifying things, or I'd like to see it. So, so I'm a evangelist within the company. I'm like, this is really great stuff. We should use as much as possible. So, but I'm sure there's other, we'll bump into things. We're kind of committed to, as we find rough edges, that we'll contribute back and try to smooth any rough edges we hit, so the next person doesn't hit them. But currently, yeah, it's the platform. It's Kubernetes. We're using RK2 flavored Kubernetes, and all that seems to work really well. So it seems like some of the SysEXTs are a little,
Yep.
yeah, they're not everything, like they're really cool and I like using them. And the bakery has some useful things, but we'd like to see that extended. So I might put some work into that to use some other stuff that I'm building locally and then just shipping as a binary and say like, well, maybe we could just, put that there. So.
Okay. Attilo?
I think, first of all, I love Logan's home lab stuff because that's kind of it's an exciting edge to things, right? And with some more low end specs, you're actually finding all of the edge cases and hopefully ironing those out so people later on large deployments don't run into them. Regarding the system extensions, Christian, the bakery, I think, is a great starting point if you just need something working really quick, right? It's also a good pattern. Like if you ship something on your own with like your own setup and your own build system, reusing parts of the bakery internally, if need be, is actually can speed you up really, really quick. And it solves a few issues that you would run later on day 2 into with just downloading binaries. Because that's how we started. Our instructions to install custom Docker version is just pull the binaries from the release servers using Ignition. But then you have problems with versioning, you have problems with updating and all of these things. And sysax very neatly take care of those. So if you need some encouragement or inspiration, I think that the bakery is also kind of a good blueprint for how to set this up internally.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like we're speedrunning that same experience where we're like, okay, well now day 2, how do we like upgrade this? And it's like, oh, well, we drop complicated scripts on the node, and then when it reboots, it goes and dials home and sees, and you're like, this is probably all solved better somewhere else. So yeah, we'll definitely be digging into that and kind of doing it. And if there's anything we can contribute back, we will. I was going to also say that that the home lab is also like a great entry point. I think a lot of us engineers, we first try something on a home lab, we hear something, we're like, oh, that's interesting. We try it on our home labs, and then we go back to our companies and we're like, we should try this. It works really good. So it is good when those work really well. I'm running it on my home lab too. So.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right. Still open mic time. Anyone has any more topic to discuss? We had quite a bit of feedback today. Thanks everybody for participating. So let's head over to Cyan for the release planning. Cyan, do you want to share? Should I share the screen? Whatever works best for you.
You can share the screen.
Will do. Here we go. And let's head over to the release planning.
Yes. So if you can open the release tracker. Yeah, so we had been planning a release for the 5th of June, but it has been delayed for a few issues. So we are actively working on the package updates getting merged because it will cover a couple of CVs for the release, and also this also include, we are trying to fix the systemd issue, which Matthew has been working on very actively, and trying to get a path forward on how that can be resolved without adding more breakages. And that's another thing that we have been actively tracking. Other than that, we have planned as of now, like it shows that we are doing a major release across multiple versions, multiple channels, but I think we would be like skipping the LTS for like doing the LTS for the next month. So yeah. Anything else that folks would like to add?
So I didn't understand. Do we plan to promote the current stable to new LTS?
Okay. Sorry. Not. Yeah, Chui.
Yeah, I'll answer that. So I found that there was an issue with Ignition spanning 2.5 years, where if you do some partitioning and specify partition number 0 to get the next available slot, that totally breaks. and that issue isn't in LTS, but I'm trying to fix it now. I've nearly got it, so yeah, I think we'll hold off till then.
Okay, good. And yeah, for the systemd issue we're having right now on stable, so basically if you have nested mount point and sysex usage, sysex won't be able to apply, so you lost Docker and containerd, which can be pretty annoying. So there is a patch upstream that has been opened by, sorry, my phone. So there is one patch that has been submitted upstream to fix this issue, and I tried to backport it to the current version of systemd we shipped in stable, but it was not fixing the issue, it was not working. So we tried other stuff, and right now the best candidate we have is to upgrade systemd on stable from 2.5.7 to 2.5.8 and carry on the patch from the upstream on this version, and it seems to work and to solve the issue and to pass the CI. So yeah, we'll maybe open the pull request today, but yeah, which means we will certainly promote upgrade systemd version on current stable. But we don't want to promote the current beta to stable because beta has some issues right now with the confx support. So yeah, still, if you want to give a try to confx feature and stuff like that, feel free to try beta, like so we identify any issues before they landing into stable.
That sounds very sane. That makes a lot of sense. So we're waiting for a few CVE fixes for the fix for the Docker build and for the ignition fix Chewy has been working on. That's good stuff. We're gonna keep this stable. And I mean, I think in rare circumstances, it's fine to bump to a new major version, even in a stabilizing maintenance branch, because it fixes a massive issue that somehow slipped into stable. Noticed. So people are actually suffering from that. And yeah, we need to get on top of that.
In the meantime, I have also been trying to get the 6.18 working. I've been get hit by like the NVIDIA drivers issue. Currently on the 6th issue I'm on, so hopefully I can merge them before we start the builds, then we can have it. If everything goes fine, then we can have it in the alpha. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's mostly from the release tracking side.
Thank you. Oh, and everybody, if you want to find a nice shortcut to our new and shiny release tracker, you just go to releases.flatcar.org, which has all of the existing releases, and then there's a link to the release schedule right here. And that'll bring you to the tracker that you just saw. All right, folks. Sion.
I wanted to give a reaction, but instead I raised my hand. So, yeah.
You can also raise your hand, unmute your mic, and then just clap. That works too. All right, folks. Nothing more from our end. Anything else you want to bubble up before we close the meeting? Logan.
I did kind of come across once. How do we know, or how do people diagnose a failed ignition run? Right, like in my mind, I wanted like the like after Flatcar comes up, if ignition failed, or if it didn't fail like fatally or in some spectacular way. Like I guess I was expecting like the MOTD to be like, your ignition didn't run. Like you have.
Usually it is fatal when it doesn't work.
The idea is actually, and this is more aiming larger deployments than home labs. So the idea is that your configuration basically goes with the node, and if there's something wrong with the configuration, or if ignition, for instance, fails to fetch anything it's supposed to provision, the node is being marked as. And so, beautifully enough, if you use that large scale with a cloud provider, the cloud provider themselves will actually mark the node as failed, because Ignition never checks in with the cloud provider and marks the node as successfully provisioned. So that is
So
something we do.
That's by design then. So
Correct.
okay, that's good.
I have noticed that sometimes Ignition seems to trundle on a bit longer than it probably should when something fails, and there's a series of explosions before it finally grinds to a halt. But I've noticed in the latest changes coming from upstream that I think they've addressed that. So.
I must have like just had the right kind of typo to have it like subtly fail, or at least not fatally fail. And then I'm like, great, my node's up. Like, let's go. And then it's like, why is nothing the way I expect it to be?
Oh.
So, yeah. But I think I can't remember what domain it was. I think it was probably not the DHCP, so it was a network interface, but not a DHCP interface that was like using to phone home. So
so you basically the configuration applied successfully, but then say a systemd network service or anything like that. Okay,
that's my recollection. It's been a while since that's happened.
That's tough to validate. So usually for cloud providers, what we can more or less validate is if the networking metadata that we're getting directly from the cloud provider, which is not user supply, it kind of works or doesn't. But for user supplied networking, that would be a little tough to diagnose. I think the only thing we have in that regard is after you log in, there's an MOTD where you see the failed systemd unit. But,
yeah.
I mean, that's super super cursory, right?
Or if you absolutely want that to work, then you can probably drop in a symlink or something in systemd to make that mandatory. And then it will hard fail if that's what you want.
Yeah, and this is like in the debugging process. So that was kind of just my one big lecture. But that's good to know. So it's like it is supposed to either work or die. So those are the only two blessed outcomes. That's good. I like that.
That's actually, if you check the documentation upstream, it's part of the rationale of Ignition. It boots or it doesn't boot and it fails. So you're not half state here.
Yeah.
So that's the spirit.
Go ahead.
And yeah, I shared a documentation, and in this documentation, you have some tips and tricks to investigate some Ignition failure. So usually you can just take your Ignition stuff and run a QEMU or whatever. And if you have access to the grub console, you can inject some command line to get more logs or to be able to drop into the initrd to investigate on your Ignition steps.
I think that's going to be useful in the future should that happen. But yeah, so because we're all bare metal, and so the some of those things are, it's kind of like, where did it go? But yeah. All right. Thank you.
It should drop you to an emergency shell. I have come across one instance where it doesn't, and it just seems to freeze, and I haven't been able to figure out why, unfortunately. It's a tricky problem, but yeah, most of the time.
So can this be implemented in Oracle Cloud? Because I have faced the issue where Ignition fails and it just shows the node as healthy.
So for Oracle, from what I've seen, you have a way to enable the console using the CLI command line interface. You can enable the console, and from this, it will start an SSH out of bound session. So you can get the console logs from a SSH session. So at this point, you should be able to reboot the instance and hijack the grub menu to inject the command line to debug Ignition. But yeah, I didn't try yet, so I'm not sure. Christian,
I think the question was, though, whether it can flag that it's failed in Oracle's interface. I'm not sure how that works. Thilo, you mentioned that.
Like when you create Terraform, right? It should show like 500 status error or something.
Yeah. So that's part of the it depends where Oracle Cloud support in particular is implemented, either Afterburn or Ignition. So Afterburn is just a metadata fetcher, but it doesn't fetch all of the metadata from all of the clouds. Parts of that are being fetched by Ignition, which is interesting. But these let's call them guest agents, because Ignition and Afterburn act as kind of a guest agent in this role, are also responsible to report successful provisioning. So I think you need to find a sweet spot where that happens for Oracle Cloud, if that's a thing. But it's a thing for almost every cloud I know, so it should be there. And then we would need to kind of hook ourselves into that process, and then only after Ignition has successfully provisioned everything, it is allowed to report success. Maybe that's too early. Maybe Afterburn just reports success after fetching the metadata, which I mean would make the thing work, but there's room for improvement there.
Yeah, so I guess the cloud provider should support this, right?
I think I'm 90% sure Oracle has such a thing as I provisioned successfully. You just need to see how Afterburn and Ignition implement it on the guest side, and if we can improve it.
Yeah, the feature is usually call home.
Yeah.
Phone
I don't know.
Call home. Yeah.
It's call home or goal state, or there's a number of, depending on the cloud, a number of terms.
I'm not sure if this helps anyone. What we're doing, we have like our own internal cloud. So one thing we do is if anything is unusual, we have a post check when we're installing, and then we dial home and we are failed or installed. And then another thing we do is we do a pre-check where most of our failures are when we don't match a specific machine, group identity. We match the generic one, and then we install that to disk by accident. So now we have a pre-check where we're like, did we look for some specific information, metadata, and we're like, okay, it's there. We matched a machine. It's fine to install this to disk. So I don't know. And that's kind of like, if it fails after that, we don't really look at it. It's just like, it's hardware. Don't worry about it. So.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Do we have more topics? Stuff you want to discuss?
Yeah. So I have a very minimal requirement. So just a single VM. Is it recommended to disable the auto update and run it every 3 months?
Depends on the amount of pain you want to take to your node. So I personally have auto update activated. I have a schedule set up. It's really easy to do with Butane. You just tell the instance you have, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday night from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. to reboot, but only in that window. And then updates will remain staged until that time, and then the node reboots. And then if you want to safeguard against service failures after update, let me link you the here. So here's a quick deep dive in the Flatcar boot process, and it also describes a setup, how you can set up systemd units on Flatcar nodes using Butane configuration to roll back an update when your most favorite systemd services didn't start. If that works for you, I would even recommend having automated updates activated. They're usually safe because, particularly for stable, I personally run everything on alpha, but particularly for stable and even beta, this stuff literally passed our test suite hundreds of times, so it should be super reliable.
It's a question of downtime, not breaking something.
Downtime is it depends on how fast your instance needs to reboot. Like there's no, so when you activate an update, it's already there. Like everything's already installed. It just reboots into a new partition. It's on most hardware that's literally a few seconds, and then it of course depends on how fast your actual business logic, your services shut down and then start again. But Flatcar itself reboots in I don't know, I would say 10 seconds.
Yeah, is it like a K-exec or something?
No.
Someone did do that, so it is possible.
Yeah, we're not generally recommending it because of driver and hardware state, which can get you into trouble. But if you think Oracle Cloud, because everything's virtualized, right? It should really be, it shuts down in less than a second, and it should fully boot in 5 to 10 seconds. So that's what the operating system part of the thing does. And that is all the time it needs to apply the whole update, because the update is being staged offline asynchronously while in a separate partition while your system remains running.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Anything else folks want to discuss? Cool. This was a great office hours today. Lots of new folks, lots of great input. See you in 2 weeks, if you like, for the developer sync, which is more like a looking at tasks kind of thing, more like issue and developer focused, or in the office hours in a month, in the July edition. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great time.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.